Few friendships within hip-hop can claim to have the love and loyalty that existed between Tupac Shakur and Yafu Fula, better known as Yaki Kadafi. From being childhood friends and godbrothers to co-founding the Outlawz, and both dying in tragic circumstances just 3 months apart, the pair had an unbreakable bond during a period where hip-hop's coastal war often threatened loyalties and friendships. The pair shared a very similar upbringing, both born in New York and raised primarily by their mothers. Kadafi's father, Sekou Odinga, was arrested and imprisoned when Kadafi was just 4 years old. Tupac's father, Billy Garland, was equally absent. While the revelation that Lumumba Shakur wasn't Tupac's biological father, as his mother originally thought, led to the breakdown of their marriage, leaving Pac shorn of a father figure. It was their mother's friendship that brought the pair together, with Pac, 6 years Kadafi's senior, serving as a brotherly figure during Kadafi's youth, and becoming a mentor figure to him in his teenage years, helping him find his way in the music business. Shakur's mother, Afeni, and Kadafi's mother, Yasmin, were both prominent members and activists within the Black Panther Party, who briefly worked together as paralegals prior to Kadafi being born, and even lived together for a short period. When Yasmin was sentenced to 18 months in prison for refusing to testify against fellow activists, Afeni acted as a surrogate mother to Kadafi. Even when Tupac's family relocated to Baltimore, the two families remained close. In 2020, Yasmin published more than 200 images of the pair together, documenting them from their early years to their rap stardom in the book Spirit of an Outlaw, the untold story of Tupac Amaru Shakur and Yaki Kadafi Fula. The book provides physical proof of the pair's long-lasting friendship. Napoleon, a fellow member of the Outlawz alongside Pac and Kadafi, testified to the strength and longevity of the pair's friendship in an Art of Dialogue interview.
Kadafi and Pac was very close. They had a special relationship, man. If you see pictures, you will see pictures when they were small kids, 5 years old, 6 years old, 3 years old together.
While Tupac's musical career took off in the early 90s, he was conscious of not leaving his friends behind and used his success to provide them with opportunities. With Pac's group Thug Life ultimately dissolved, Kadafi and his mother played an instrumental role in founding Dramacidal, who after Pac's release from prison and subsequent signing to death row would go on to become the Outlawz, with the addition of several members. It was when the group became the Outlawz that Fula officially became Yaki Kadafi, named after Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi, with Pac wanting all members to take on the names of leaders who opposed Western rule. Napoleon revealed to Cam Capone News that a chance meeting with Gaddafi's mother saw him link up again with childhood friend Gaddafi and Pac to form the Outlawz.
Years went past, I haven't ran into him, I haven't seen him in years. About this time, I'm 13, 14 years old, and I asked his mother, what's up with him? And she like, man, he's doing this. He's actually with his half brother by the name of Tupac Shakur. And I was like, yeah, I'm also trying to rap. And she was like, well, if you're serious, she's the one who took me to New York to meet Pac, and I got back in contact with Gaddafi, and from that day it was on.
Kadafi, alongside the rest of Dramacidal, would feature on the tracks Me Against the World and Outlaw on Pac's 1995 album, Me Against the World. Even more notably, Kadafi, alongside the Outlawz, would feature on Pac's emphatic diss track, Hit 'Em Up, with Kadafi taking over the fourth verse. While Kadafi's words may have lacked the venom of Pac's, his appearance on the track demonstrated his loyalty to Pac. He was fully willing to support his friend in his feud with Biggie and Bad Boys. Equally, Pac trusted Kadafi, and while he was in prison, he asked him to find potential members to expand Dramacidal. Kadafi introduced Pac to his old school friend, Hussein Fatal, taking him to visit Pac at the Clinton Correctional Facility where he was imprisoned. Pac asked Hussein to rap a few verses and, suitably impressed, invited him to join the group. Kadafi and his fellow Outlawz would go on to feature on Pac's double album, All Eyes on Me, appearing on tracks like When We Ride and All About You. However, it's on one of the tracks that didn't make the album, Soon As I Get Home, that reveals more about the depth of the pair's friendship. The track sees Pac reflect upon his time in prison, and Kadafi similarly reflects on the pair's upbringing before demonstrating his care for Pac at the end of his verse. Meanwhile, I stay waiting by the phone, hoping I get a call telling a nigga that you home. Kadafi's world was turned upside down on September 7, 1996, the day Pac was shot and ultimately killed. Heading towards Club 662 in Las Vegas, Pac was shot at from a white Cadillac, being hit 4 times. 2 shots to the chest and 1 to the arm and 1 to the thigh. Kadafi was riding in the car behind, and it was him who informed the police that the shooter was riding in a white Cadillac and that he believed he could identify the killer, a lead the LA police failed to follow up on. In an interview with the Art of Dialogue, Napoleon discussed the incident.
Gaddafi seen the guy, you know what I mean? The guy looked at Gaddafi, Gaddafi looked back at him. And of course, Gaddafi didn't expect, he didn't know what was about to happen until he seen the arm come out the window.
Napoleon also stated that he didn't think it was Baby Lane, the one who Gaddafi seen. Orlando Baby Lane Anderson was a longtime suspect in Pac's murder. In a separate interview on The Art of Dialogue, Napoleon described how Gaddafi never recovered from the loss of Pac, showing just how close the two were.
Gaddafi took it bad, you know what I mean? I think out of all of us, he took it the worst. After Pac died in September, I was with Gaddafi in Jersey, I think up until for like a month. I was with him until like October. I think October I went down to Atlanta, and he was out of it, you know what I mean? He was out of it. Every day that I seen him, he was really out of it, man. It was sad. Like, it really affected him. When I was looking in his face, he didn't even want to live anymore. He was just like, man, I don't even care about living anymore.
Napoleon's comments are supported by Desiree Smith, who told Art of Dialogue that Pac's death had Gaddafi worrying about his own mortality.
And I remember that day too, Yaki saying he knew he wasn't going to be alive for much longer. He could feel it coming.
Smith and Napoleon's comments suggested that Gaddafi struggled for meaning and purpose in the wake of Pac's death, and seemed to fear that he would meet a similar end. Sadly, Gaddafi's comments to Smith ended up being true. On November 10, 1996, almost 2 months after Pac's death, Gaddafi was shot and killed by Napoleon's cousin, Rashad Roddy Beale. In an interview with DJ Vlad, Napoleon detailed the incident, describing it as an accident.
I introduced Gaddafi to my cousin, and they became friends. They started building their own relationship even without me. At that particular time, it was known in New Jersey where a lot of youngsters was getting high off of pills. I'm not sure what type of pills they was taking, but everyone was dumping pills, you understand? My little cousin Roddy, he always had a gun on him. And imagine an individual who's not in his right mind. He probably was 13, 14, 15 years old, always high, playing with a gun. He said that he was playing with the gun, pointed it in the face of Gaddafi, and the gun accidentally went off.
Napoleon also stated that Roddy handed himself into the police at his behest and served 7 to 8 years. However, Yasmin disputed this, revealing in an Instagram post that Roddy was only given a 4-year sentence on account of his age. The close proximity between Pac and Gaddafi's death, as well as Gaddafi's prophetic statements about his mortality, led to speculation that Gaddafi was killed due to being a potential crucial witness in identifying Pac's killer. But there is no evidence that Gaddafi was killed for his silence, and as Napoleon told The Art of Dialogue, he never actually cooperated with the police.
You got to understand where we come from in that particular time. As Gaddafi said to the police, you know what I mean? He didn't want to participate with the police.
The police were also quick to dispel any notions of a connection between the two deaths, with Orange Police Captain Richard Conte stating at the time, "We don't believe it's related at this time to the Shakur killing. The way the investigation is going, it's not going in that direction, but it's still under investigation." However, Napoleon's version of the events has been contradicted. In a news report at the time of Gaddafi's death, his girlfriend, Levie Johnson, stated that Gaddafi was shot after opening the door.
He said, yeah, what if somebody come to kill me? We all started laughing, like, just get the door. And then he came and opened the door.
And then you heard the gunshot.
Mm-hmm.
Johnson's account suggests that Gaddafi was shot immediately, not after engaging in some play fighting as implied by Napoleon. It also supports the police's official statement at the time, which said that Gaddafi's body was found slumped in the hallway after being shot once in the head. Gaddafi's mother has strongly and repeatedly disputed Napoleon's version of events, releasing a Facebook statement following Napoleon's DJ Vlad interview. "My son was murdered by Roddy Beale, Mutah's cousin. Make no mistake, it was a murder. Mutah's family threatened all the witnesses and folks willing to come forward to testify that Roddy had threatened Yaki." In the 2021 Instagram post, Yasmin doubled down on her claims, releasing a lengthy statement on the 25th anniversary of her son's death. "My son was murdered 25 years ago by Rashad Clark. For 25 years I have screamed out this was a murder and carried the pain and loss of both 2PAC and Yaki. Made worse by lies, this was an accident, threats and intimidation of witnesses, and ultimate betrayal by Mutah Beale, who has acted as a hype man and defender of his cousin. I have never blamed Mutah for the murder. I have definitely blamed him for providing a forum for lies to propagate over the years and not seeking truth despite the pain, and for continuing to exploit both Yaki and 2PAC's death in interviews and pathetic displays of a crow eating off the carcass of dead people." Yasmin's pursuit of justice has led to her involvement in the upcoming documentary, Killing Fields, The Vindication of Yaki Kadafi, which promises to delve into Gaddafi's death in detail. Pac's growing fame in the 90s garnered him a slew of celebrity friends, but none of these friendships could match the bond he shared with Gaddafi. The pair were simply inseparable.